and welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on everything, including news, current events, politics, entertainment, business, finance, and most importantly, stimulus. Now, where are we at with stimulus talks and what is going on? I'm going to give you all of the updates. So first of all, we heard from Nancy Pelosi, because y'all know she is my favorite person to hear from when it comes to all of these talks. And she basically talks about how things are a bit stalled. I wonder why, Nancy. We also hear from Donald Trump. Donald Trump is demanding Congress do something, which is very exciting, and we'll get into that later. As well, we've heard this morning from somebody who it was just an hour ago, confirmed they talked to Trump, and Trump is back on the stimulus train. Very good, very big, very exciting news. But before I begin, guys, I want to remind y'all, as most of y'all probably know that are watching, I had to leave my former channel, and I'm not demonetized, but I am not monetized on this channel yet. Anything you could do to help me get monetized would be so greatly appreciated. If you could please watch the videos from start to finish, that helps me get my watch time up even multiple times. If you wanted to, would be wonderful. Also, if you want to help support this channel get monetized, please like my videos, subscribe, hit notifications to be notified daily what's coming in the pipeline. Leave comments. Please leave comments as much as you can, because the more comments, the better it helps me. And share this content to get it out there with people. Also find me on Facebook, Katie's Insight on Facebook. And then the group is still Katie's Corner for the moment. Excuse me. That will be changing soon, but you can go in the group, ask all the stimulus questions you want, and we can help on a more one-on-one basis. But let's go ahead and let's dive into where things are at with stimulus. So the first thing I want to lead off with is my favorite person out of all this, as always, Nancy Pelosi. Now, to Nancy's credit, because I do rail on her a lot, she's actually been very generous about saying that she's praying for the president, his health, his recovery, Melania's health, Melania's recovery, which I think is very, very commendable. And I'm very glad that she is doing that. I think it shows character on her part. You know, as much as people like her irritate me, I don't think people are all just inherently bad, just as people all aren't inherently good. So I do want to give credit where it's due. But she talks about where the stimulus talks are. So let me kind of give you guys a quick update on where that is. So we have stimulus that passed. We had a bill that passed in the House, but it's going to be dead on arrival when it comes to the Senate, unless there can be a deal made behind closed doors between Mnuchin and the White House. And talks started last week, and they are trying to do that again. So it looks like, you know, Pelosi had put out her proposal. And then we had Mnuchin, Steve Mnuchin from the White House, the Treasury, countered with a proposal. And now she is countered again with a new proposal. So she was asked last night where things are at, if things are going to be going better for stimulus talks, where we are at. And unfortunately, she says at this point, everything is still stalled. But the good news is they're only like $600 billion apart. So I know like Steve Mnuchin is like at 1.6 billion. She's at 2.2, but that is narrowing the gap significantly to where we have just 0.6 to be able to get there. So that is very good news on the front of how all of this is going. But before I get into the news with Trump, his health, and most importantly, the stimulus stuff, the positive stimulus stuff we've heard, I'd like to cover some of what Miss Pelosi said. And you guys know me, I have a video, but I also have a small article of information that I want to go over. It says, and this is from the Washington Post, virus relief deal elusive, as Pelosi says Democrats await agreement from the administration. Deal depends on whether administration recognizes the need to do what it takes to crush the virus, House Speaker says. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Sunday there's no deal yet on a new virus relief package, as Democrats wait to see whether the Trump administration will agree to their terms. Pelosi spoke a day after President Trump, hospitalized with the virus, tweeted his support for more stimulus legislation, which we'll get into. Pelosi was asked on CBS News' Face the Nation if the president's comments suggest that a deal was in hand or close. No. It means we want to see that they will agree on what needs to crush the virus so that we can open the economy and our schools safely, Pelosi has said. She did not elaborate, but had said Friday that agreeing on language on how to spend for new testing and tracing money remained a sticking point. Democrats have pushed for months for a national testing strategy that the administration never produced. Pelosi also suggested Friday that Trump's positive diagnosis could change the dynamic and help speed an agreement in a new round of economic relief talks that restarted about a week ago between her and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. Negotiations continued over the weekend, but there was little to no sign of a breakthrough that would be imminent. Pelosi asked airlines on Friday to hold off on impending furloughs of tens of thousands of workers pending a deal. United and American, the major carriers that have threatened furloughs, have said they can reserve them if there is a deal to expend payroll support for the industry that just expired. But Congress must act fast. What I said to the airline executives in a public statement is, don't fire people. You know that relief is on the way and it will be retroactive. So let's keep them employed, Pelosi said. As to whether a deal could come in the coming weeks, Pelosi said, it just depends on if they can understand what we have tried to do in crushing the virus. You can't just say we need to do something, but we're going to let the virus run free. Now it's even run free in the White House. Mnuchin's office had no comment on Pelosi's remarks. Pelosi herself was tested for the virus on Friday and tested negative. She said on Sunday that she would continue to get tested regularly, a step she had not previously committed to publicly. House members left Washington on Friday for what was supposed to be a recess through the election. But if a deal does emerge, they could be called back to vote on it. Moderate House Democrats in tough races are pushing hardest for a deal and helped prod Pelosi to re-engage in talks with Mnuchin, which had broken down early in August. Congress has not enacted any new relief since the 4 packages passed in March and April totaling about $3 trillion. The House passed a $3.4 trillion bill called the HEROES Act in May, but Senate Republicans and the White House dismissed it as overly costly, objecting to a nearly $1 trillion for state and local governments. Pelosi subsequently scaled back the bill to $2.2 trillion, largely by shortening timeframes of the initiatives, reducing the state and local aid portion to $436 billion. Republicans still say it's too high, but the House passed the $2.2 trillion version late Thursday over United GOP opposition. Mnuchin's offer to Pelosi in the new round of talks was about $1.6 billion. The two sides agree on another round of $1,200 stimulus checks, but have remained apart on other issues, including tax credits for children and families and enhanced unemployment benefits. Pelosi wanted to renew $600 in additional weekly benefits, but the administration offered only $400 per week. The new talks come amid worrying signs for the economy, which was propped up by the stimulus over the spring but has since started to slow by some measures. A cascade of new layoffs was announced last week, including by Disney and Allstate. The total number of people claiming unemployment rose slightly to 26.5 million for the week ending September 12th. And now I want to hear directly from Miss Pelosi herself, because you know how I do. Let's take it away, Nance.
We want to go now to Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. She is just after Vice President Pence in the line of succession. That is the order that elected officials would take over the duties of the presidency if needed. Speaker Pelosi, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure. Good morning. Sunday morning.
I'm sorry, y'all. I had to do it. Now, every time I hear her say good morning, I just think about all them quivers. Okay, I'm serious. Let's play the video. Quit joking around. We got to get super serious time. We're only suffering here.
Given your important role in leadership, how regularly are you being briefed on the president's status, and are you satisfied with the level of communication?
Well, we're getting our information the way everyone else is in the media. But in terms of the succession, that's an ongoing process. Sadly, at this time, it comes to the forefront. But let me just say on this Sunday morning, our prayers are with the President, the First Lady, and all those who surround him. Hopefully, the extent, the tracing, the contact tracing will give us an idea who needs to be treated so that the toll of this terrible virus is even worse than it is. The President has the best of care That's what we want for him and the family. I've always prayed for the family, for their safety throughout the presidency, as I have done for all presidents. But he's the president of the United States. We pray for his good health, his speedy recovery. But I hope it will be a signal that we really have to do better in preventing the spread of this virus. People always ask, what impact will this have on the election? I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is what impact will it be on coming to the table with us and doing what we have to crush the virus. Listen to science. Have the public-private role that needs to be done to crush the virus. And so hopefully and prayerfully, and we wouldn't pray if we didn't believe there was a chance that there could be an answer. And so I pray that in addition to his health, that the president's heart will be open to the millions of people have been affected, hundreds of thousands of families have suffered a death, and also to recognize that a preponderance of this of the impact of the virus is in communities of color
and
who really don't have the kind of access to care that the president or the rest of us have.
I want to ask you about the possibility of providing more aid, but first, can you just clarify, how frequently are you personally being tested, and should you be quarantining?
No, I was tested. I follow the guidance of our house attending physician, I was tested on Friday negative, but I also intend to be regularly tested. I'm pleased with the reliability of the testing in the Capitol. I think it's better than what is at the White House, or else the president might not have been exposed on the basis of a false negative that put him at risk, that may have put him at risk. We don't know where he got it, but we do know that there was a negative test for somebody with close proximity to the president.
Is there any reason to believe that the source of the infection was Capitol Hill?
Excuse me?
Is there any reason to believe that the source of the infection came from Capitol Hill?
I have no idea. I've never heard anything like that. I think that the optics of it are that those who were at the White House were the ones who brought the virus back to Capitol Hill. But again, let's look at this in a larger sense of what it means to the American people. We need to have trust. We need to trust that what they're telling us about the president's condition is real. We have to have confidence in the judgment of the doctors who are treating him, that not only do they give a presentation, notice when they give a presentation to the press, it has to be approved by the president. That's not very scientific. That's not very scientific. So I think this can be a unifying moment for our country. We all pray for the president and his family. We all know that we have to do more to prevent this, to crush this virus. And one way not to do it is to crush the Affordable Care Act, which the Senate is in the process of trying to do with moving quickly on this judicial appointment.
The president tweeted yesterday that the country needs stimulus. Does that mean that you have come to an agreement or are close to a deal on a COVID relief bill?
No, it means that we want to see that they will agree on what we need to do to crush the virus so that we can open the economy and open our schools safely.
So you're no closer than on Friday when that airline
we're making progress. Well, we tried to get that done in the House, but the Republicans objected. But what I said to the airline executives in a public statement is, don't fire the people. You know that relief is on the way, and it will be retroactive. So let's keep them employed, because separate from other industries, when you're let go in the airline industry, it takes months or years to be recertified, reclassified, all of that, security clearances and the rest. Not like if somebody has another kind of a job, they leave, they come back. So that makes a difference. But also,
could that come this week?
It just depends on if they understand what we have to do to crush the virus. You can't just say we need to do something, but we're going to let the virus run free. Now that it's even run free in the White House, think of how it is in a poor neighborhood when the president is insisting that children actually go back to school in order to get the funding that he is recommending. These poor kids are largely minority children. People exposed to the virus are largely minority. Everybody's affected, but the death toll and the lack of testing and tracing in the minority community has had a very negative negative impact. So we have to be serious about this. Let me just back up for a second and say this. For a long time, the Republicans in Congress and this president have been anti-science. They don't trust science, and they don't believe in governance. So if science says you should be testing, tracing, treating, mask wearing, sanitation, separation, and the rest, and you don't believe in science, and you don't want to govern to say this is what you have to do, then you have more deaths, more spread of the virus, and you can see this even with denial and climate change, that we're suffering these fires now. They don't believe in science, and they don't want to do anything about it.
Madam Speaker, what about
on
Capitol Hill, since a number of lawmakers on the Senate side that in just the past few days have tested positive? Your Democratic colleague, Chuck Schumer, said this demonstrates the need for testing and contact tracing for everyone who works on Capitol Hill. Do you agree with Senator Schumer, and are you working on that for lawmakers?
Well, he has a smaller body than we do on the House side. My confidence is in our, and I appreciate what he's saying, and others on the House side, Mr. Hoyer, saying something similar. But my confidence in this, respectful of those views, is with the House attending physician who will determine when it is necessary for us to have testing that has confidence. There's suggestions about, we have 20,000 employees on Capitol Hill. It's not just about the members of Congress. We want to be safe for the press who covers us, and the custodians and the workers in the Capitol and the staff. So
that's right.
It is,
that's why I was asking the question.
There could be some sampling. Let's depend on science on how we deal with it.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We have to take a break here. I really appreciate you joining us today. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
You too.
Okay, guys. Boo-boo-boo! Finger guns. These aren't even finger guns. These are finger pointers. I can do a lot of damage with these. All right, notes. Let's get into my notes. Here we go. It says, you're being briefed on the president's status. Are you happy with the level of communication? She says, we are getting the info like everybody else in the media. In terms of succession, it's an ongoing process. That means if something happened to the president and, God forbid the vice president, then she would be the one to step up and take the role. Sadly, at this time, it comes to the forefront. On this Sunday morning, stop it. She's not allowed to say the words Sunday morning anymore. On this Sunday morning, our prayers are with the president and first lady and those surrounding him. Hopefully, the contact tracing will help us know who needs to be treated so the virus doesn't get worse. The president has the best of care, which is what we want for him and his family. I always care for his family and their safety, as I will pray for all presidents. We pray for his good health and speedy recovery. I hope this will be a signal that we have to do better for the spread of the virus. People keep asking, what will be the impact with the election? I tell them I'm not interested in that. I'm concerned about what we need to do to crush this virus. What impact this virus will be. We need to listen to science, have public and private role be done to crush this virus. We hope and pray. We would not pray if there wasn't a chance that there could be an answer. We pray for the president's health and that his heart will be open to the millions that are suffering and affected. 100,000 families have suffered a death. To recognize and ponder of the virus on communities of color that don't have the same kind of access to what the president has that many of us don't have. I have to agree with a lot of what she says here, to be honest. First of all, personally, I like the fact that she is going to pray for him and pray that he has a change of a positive heart. I like that. By the way, I'm not saying he needs to or doesn't need to. I'm just saying I like that at least right now she's walking her walk of the kind, tolerant, loving left. Good, credit where it's due, because I rail on her a lot. Good on you, Nancy. She also says that, she hopes that this opens his heart to the millions that are suffering and affected that don't have the access he does. And I can agree with that as well. However, Nancy, you're the one who has really, really held things up with anybody even getting any help. However, she has said we don't want to do a skinny bill. We want to make sure when we get in there and we do something, it's a big enough bill to cover everything. But so far, you've just delayed anybody getting help for months. And the Republicans don't care to help anybody. So we're screwed on both ends, right? They're both evil. It's just, what side do you want? Do you want the people that are blatantly evil or the ones that are manipulative and stab you in the back? The Republicans or the Democrats? That's how I look at it. At least with the Republicans, you get a bunch of staunch people who don't give a crap. The Democrats, you have to second, third, and 10th guess and figure out where they're lying, and it just comes to the forefront eventually. So it drives me nuts, but I do agree. I think it's really scary that with this virus, it seems to affect minorities much different and at a faster, more intense rate than it does with Caucasian people, which is crazy. Like, how is this? How? But I was about to say, how is medicine and science, how are they the R word? I don't even want to say it because I'm afraid YouTube will get in trouble with me. Prejudice, right? But then again, look at science. Look at what we've allowed for the minority communities. Look at how run down their hospitals are. Look at the fact that when you're a woman, the mortality rate for giving birth is going up in one of the best, most developed countries in the world, especially among minorities. At this point, if I were going to have a baby, honestly, not that I'm probably going to, I'm 36 with health issues. I know where I stand, but I'd be going somewhere else. And I'm saying that before you guys say, if you don't like this country, get out. It's not that I don't love this country, I do, but there are things here that are dangerous for women and minorities. And I have lived overseas. I've actually lived in another country. I will take France's healthcare any day over what we have here because they actually help people there. Here, if you're a woman, you go in for something, you're told you're anxious for years before you get anybody to take you seriously. It's a nightmare. Anyway, I agree with her there. Let's continue. It says, how frequently are you being tested and should you be quarantined? Good question. She says, I've been tested. I'm following guidelines of my physician. I've tested negative and I routinely get tested. I'm pleased with the reliability of the testing in the Capitol. I think it's better than what the White House otherwise has with the president, and that the president, if he had better testing, would not have been exposed to the false negatives that he got in the testing. Okay, girl. This one bothers me, and I feel like I'd have to really go down blank theory lane to really explain this, but I'll tell you what I think. I'm of the mindset a lot of cures for a lot of different illnesses and ailments exist. I just don't feel like the peons, like most of us, get access to them. So when I hear her, who is a mouthpiece and speaking on behalf of and a part of the lower elite that have the money and control this place, trying to talk about he should have better testing in place, girl, it's people like you and Biden and the people who've been in office for how many years who've allowed really good medical tech to be suppressed. And I know you guys are going to be like, you're getting a bit nutty. Having the health issues I've had and having to fix things on my own that doctors said I'll never do, I'm going to die, you'll never be better. When I was told a year ago, when I could not get out of bed, I wasn't just bedbound, I had to lay flat on my stomach most of the hours of the day. And I had to get help assisted with walking, with doing everything. And I was told, you'll never probably be functioning. We can try to get a little more functioning, a little bit, but you'll never be a functioning human being. Look where I'm at now, booze. And you know what I did? I decided to carve my own path, and I said I will not let anybody in a white coat who paid a ton of money for a degree tell me and dictate to me what my life is, what my body is, and how I can get better. And I went and sought all kinds of different alternatives, whether or not it was medical, whether or not it was herbal, different medicinal things. And I am a living testament to the fact that just because a doctor says something doesn't mean it's true. And I believe we have so much to learn in the medical community. And I am angry that I feel like we have medical technology that is being suppressed. More on this one day. Where are the aliens? Okay, y'all, I'm sorry. At this point, if you watch me, though, you know me. I get a little bit weird and esoteric. I get a lot of odd thoughts on things, but this is one that I very, very much have, and I just really hope that more medical technology is allowed to us to come out to be able to do things. You know what? Why didn't we just give Nikola Tesla a bunch of money to go and do what he does? We would all be floating around at this point having a great time in perfect health. But that's what we do with people like Nikola Tesla. We just put him off like he's crazy, let corporations screw him, and then he goes into poverty. I love Nikola. Anyways, aliens, let's keep talking. So, says, was the source of the, oh, by the way, just to kind of say, I feel like people like Nancy Pelosi, she knows there are different things in place that can actually fix people, and yet she just peddles crap. And you know what? Almost all of them do in the government. I'll tell you, conspiracy lane. There is one person that I've seen trying to challenge some of that. And you want to know who it is? Orange Man Bad, the Cheeto himself that most people hate, or they like to put the narrative that they hate. Trump. Trump has really been somebody who's trying to challenge the medical system. I'm all for it. But then again, I can argue he also made medical devices easier for people to get, and many medical devices can make people very sick, make their immune system turn on them, give them autoimmune issues, chronic inflammation. So it's a two-way street. But he's the only president for a while that's been trying, because remember when we had the Affordable Care Act that came in, was supposed to give people free to cheap insurance, and families ended up paying $1,000 a month to get subpar insurance. Welcome to America, where even when we try to do something good, it backfires and it's a slap in the face to all of us. All right, continued. Was the source of the infection on Capitol Hill? Is there any reason to believe that? She says, I have no idea and never heard anything like that. I think the optics of it are that those at the White House were the ones who brought the virus back to Capitol Hill. Girl, you don't know that, and considering that you had let people go on recess back and forth for months, come on. It's possible. By the way, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying it's like that's a little jab to the president, which is like, what? Why, Nancy? Why? Go get your hair done again, girl. Calm down, relax. Let's look at a larger sense of the American people. We need to have trust that what we are being told about our president's condition is real. Again, don't get me started with what's really going on medically in this country that she knows about. We need confidence and judgment of the doctors treating him. Notice, when they give us a presentation to the press, it needs to be approved by the president. That's not very scientific. I think this could be the unifying moment for the country. We are all praying for the president and his family. We all know that we have to do more to prevent the spread and cure the virus. One way not to do this is to crush the Affordable Care Act, big eye roll, which is in the Senate, and it's trying to do more and move quickly with this. Let me say before anybody criticizes me, I am all for universal health care done correctly. This is coming, and I hear this from people, they go, people love to say this when I say this. People always, I think it's because I'm real bubbly and peppy, especially y'all, like when I was super cute and super thin, like I look really young. And because of the way I come across, people never take me seriously and they underestimate me, and that's the worst thing to do with somebody like me, because you don't see it coming. But people always underestimate me, and I'll hear this, you don't know what that is. That's socialism. You've never lived in a country like that. You don't know how bad it is. I'm like, Canada and France, try me, boo. France for 2 years and Canada for a couple months. You want to go this route with me? I actually had a medical issue happen a few times while I was in France. So I've actually seen their healthcare system. Now, there are some things, there are a couple things that concern me, but you know what? As I was getting my citizenship there, I was in the process, not citizenship, but my visa. I was waiting for it to be approved. They went ahead and waived all my fees when I was like, I don't have anything I can do. They step up and they help. Their medicine is almost free. It's fantastic. And it's not, I always get irritated about this. I don't want socialism either. I think socialism is fantastic when done right, but in this world, it's rarely done right. And there are countries that do democratic socialism who have done it well. And there are some, looking at you, Venezuela, who haven't. But my whole point is to say, before anybody gets upset with me and wants to call me a socialist or a communist, like, I've lived in a country that's actually had a universal healthcare system. And by the way, like in Canada, like in the UK, sometimes you can wait a really long time to get a surgery. There are issues. I'm not saying they're not, but at least you can get some kind of help and you don't go bankrupt in the process. That's what we allow in America. It's barbaric. So when I see people like her and she says, don't rescind the Affordable Health Care Act, the Affordable Health Care is not universal health care insurance. It's forced government insurance on people who can't afford it. And that's why I get so mad at it. But I am ready. I am ready, and I will always, to the day I die, till I take my last breath, I'm going to be a very big advocate for better health care and some form of universal health care in this country that will work for the betterment of other people. What that is, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know the science on that level, but I'm all for it, and I think that we as people are better than this. My opinion. So she says, then it says the president tweeted yesterday that Americans need stimulus. We're going to get into this. Are you any closer to a stimulus deal? Any agreement? She says no. It means we want to see if they agree to what we need to crush the virus so we can open the economy and the schools. And then they ask, are you any closer to making a deal? We will try. And first she said no. And then she said we are going to try to get it done, but the Republicans reject it. I said to the airline executives, don't fire people. Relief is on the way and it will be retroactive. Let's keep them employed. Because separate from other industries, when you are let go in the airline industry, it can take months and years to be rectified and reclassified and getting the clearances. It's not like other jobs. It makes a difference. And you know what? On this one, I can give her a point here. Like I can concede a point. Now, I don't know anything about the airline industry. So understand, take with a grain of salt what I'm about to say. But I do know, like I've had friends that are pilots of small planes. And I do know in regard to that, There is a lot that you have to do to get certified. There's a lot you have to do to keep up your certifications. Like, there is a process in even getting, certain types of certifications so you can fly. And then, like, do y'all know this? When you fly, it's crazy. Like, they have to constantly be in communication with all of these different towers every few minutes or few hours. Like, when you go into different airspace, like, it gets crazy. So much respect to all the people that are pilots. Like, and maybe it's easier than what I'm thinking once you get it down, but I don't think I could do it. I got too many nerves. Like, I'm too nervous to do something like that. But guys, my point is that, I will concede a point there to her. What she is saying on that end, it makes perfect sense, at least in my opinion. So let's go ahead and continue. And it says, could relief come this week? She says it depends on if they, the Republicans, understand what we need to crush the virus. Can't just say we need something, but we will let the virus run free. And in this area, I go back and forth with her. I can see her point and I can agree with her, but at the same time, I more than anything would trust Mnuchin when Mnuchin was like, we've run the numbers, we know how much we need to treat the virus. You guys want a whole lot more just for S&G. For diaper changes and giggles. Y'all, by the way, that S&G that I'm talking about, the blank and giggles, that is one of my favorite things to say. Can't say it on YouTube. Guys, if YouTube didn't have all these permissions about saying different things, I would be a sailor on here. Y'all have no idea. So, it says, she says, you can't just say you need something, but we'll let the virus run free. Think about the White House, and the president is telling people in poor neighborhoods and kids to go back to school. This affects minorities more than anyone else. He pulls funding if the kids don't go back to school. People exposed are largely minorities. I agree with her wholeheartedly here. The death toll is largely in minority communities. We have to be serious about this. For a long time, the Republicans in Congress have been anti-science. They don't believe science and governance. Science says we should be testing, tracing, treating, mask wearing, sanitation, distancing, and you don't believe in science, and you don't want to govern to say this is what we need to do. Then we have more deaths and spread of the virus. We can see the forest in the fire, and they don't believe science and they don't believe in governance. No, I think they just don't believe in giving you more money than you need to bail you out. I think I get so irritated with the left talking about science, science, science. You know one thing that drives me nuts about the left? The left screams feminism and science, right? They also scream the right for a woman to choose. I am all for that, by the way. If you were really about science and you were really a feminist, why wouldn't you push to make sure women don't have to make that horrible choice and we get better birth controls in place that don't poison us? I'm just going to throw it out there because this is an argument that's always left off the table and it really, really bothers me. I know I'm a little all over the place today, but y'all know me watching me. That's how I roll. I kind of throw in different things here and there. But if you were really about science, why aren't you pushing for better science and you just go around saying science, science, science without actually advocating for better science for people, especially for women and women's health? Just something that drives me nuts as a woman who's had health issues and known the majority of women who have health issues. Y'all don't get me started. One day I think I'd like to do a breakdown of body image in this country, how it's changed, how we are now in a place where we're supposed to accept that obesity is okay. But more importantly, I think everybody should love themselves because you never know. I was obese last year, almost 300 pounds. Y'all, I'll do before and after pictures at some point so you can see. And it was because I had health issues. So I'm not knocking anybody for their health concerns, but I'm at the point where it's like, instead of saying it's okay to be whatever size you want to be, which it is and it should be, why aren't we also hearing the concept? Hear me out, guys. Why aren't we also being entertained with the concept that the majority of women that I knew growing up had EDs, eating disorders, and I was one of them. Why is it for many women I knew, no matter what they did diet-wise, no matter how perfect and pristine their diet was, they couldn't lose weight and would gain weight? Maybe, I don't know, we should push for better science, for women's health, for women and understanding what their hormones do, what their weight does. Like, with men, for the majority of men, it's a lot easier. These are just things that drive me nuts that I don't see feminism going after. Because you should be able, yes, be whatever size you want to be, feel good in your skin, and you should be loved and accepted. But there's something wrong when most women have to be at that point because something is wrong with their bodies where they can't be thin. They can't lose weight. That the fact that we have a whole society that nobody really knows or it's not so much cared about what happens with our hormones. Stuff like that, right? Don't get me started. Oh my gosh, one of these days I'll drop some videos on some of this stuff and to kind of give you guys some insight into what I'm talking about. But, by the way, love yourself at every size. Love yourself. I think we need to recognize when something's not healthy, but love yourself. That's it. That's all I have to say. Let's just recognize the truth for the truth. But you know what? Just because it's truth doesn't mean we need to be saying it all the time. I've got issues too. I've got tons of issues I don't need people scolding me for, making me feel bad for. We all have our stuff to work on. So I hope that gives a complete picture of what I'm trying to say, because I know this is kind of a sensitive topic and I'm getting way off topic here. Anyways, leftists and science. Science, science, science. She says they don't believe in science and governance. Science says we want to govern to say this is what we need to do, but we have more deaths spread because of the virus. We can see the forest through the fire, and they don't believe in science and they don't believe in governance. And they asked, what do you believe about many in the government testing positive on Capitol Hill? Like I told you before, Kayleigh McEnany just tested positive. Our hearts go with her and her family. She has a baby at home. Says, well, he has a smaller body than we do on the House side. My confidence is on, and I appreciate what he's saying. And Hoyer is saying something similar. My confidence is the House attending physician, and that he will suggest what is necessary to do in consistent testing. By the way, I'm paraphrasing what she said. If it sounds nuts, it's because she starts rambling and speaking weird. He says, or she says, my confidence is the House attending physicians, and he will suggest when it's necessary to do consistent testing. We have 20,000 employees on Capitol Hill. It's not just the members of Congress. We want to be safe for the press who cover us, custodians and workers and the staff in the Capitol. There has to be some sampling. It will be in the science and how we deal with it. So that is what she has said, and it looks like she is saying right now, unless we have the Republicans who sign off on everything she wants, that they are at a stalemate, which I think for all of us is just a continued disappointment, but welcome to politics. Like, what do we expect at this point? Do we expect our people to actually do something for our benefit? Do we expect our government officials to work on our behalf? Screw that. Who do we think we are? Y'all already know. Y'all already know. But anyway, I just wanted to go over some of that with you guys. I was going to go over more stuff, but I ended up letting this video go way too long, so this will be in another video, so stay tuned, or it's going to be in the video before this. I don't know what timing I'm going to put these up because I don't plan my life very much. Well, I do, but I'm exhausted from leaving my channel and restarting a new one. Guys, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up, like the video, subscribe, hit notifications so you can be notified daily what is coming in the pipeline for you and your stimulus money. Also, sound off in the comments. Let me know everything you think about what Ms. Nance has to say about all this and where we're at with stimulus. And guys, please share this content with as many people as you can, as I would love to help as many people as possible, and I have tons of tools and tons of resources to help people during this difficult time. And guys, if you really want to help me get monetized and get my channel up and running, very simple. All you have to do, like the video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, and that helps me grow, as well as watch these videos from start to finish. If you want to watch multiple times, my goodness, that helps me, and I have the best audience in the world. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you so much, and I just can't thank you all enough for your continued love and support. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this video now, so be tuned. Stay tuned for another one, or for tomorrow, depending on when this goes up. Okay, y'all, much love. Take care, and I will see you soon. Mwah. Goodbye.